Hey guys, and welcome to the Odoo webinar today. My name is Natasha Binnick. I'm on the marketing team at Odoo, and I'll be your host for today's webinar. Here we have Sebastian Sagramoso, business advisor at Odoo.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Sebastian. I'm going to kick it off to you.
All right. Well, thank you, Natasha. We will be having one of our standard webinars today. It's going to be a little bit different, so I just want to clarify this beforehand. Usually our webinars focus on one particular aspect, perhaps one application, and then we also do webinars where we'll focus on maybe implementation or something like that. We're actually going to do here a really good example of just a standard demonstration of Odoo. If you call in, you'll speak to somebody like myself, a business advisor, and me and my team of business advisors will talk about your company, talk about what you're looking for, excuse me, and then create a demonstration like this for you. And what that is really demonstrating the value of a system like Odoo. We're going to be running from the front end of the business, anything from sales, CRM for wholesale, website for B2C, and we'll bring that all the way in to see how it's handled in the back end, how those trigger stock moves in Odoo, how you acquire those products, how you even make them, finally doing a delivery, and then invoicing, see how all of this feeds into accounting. So really, again, a good example of the kind of demonstration you'll get after you speak with our team. And we thought it'd be really valuable to look at that here in a webinar one day for everyone to see. So the specifics about what we're going to look at today, and I should preface this by saying we'll be taking questions throughout this. You can write into the chat anything that comes up, and then towards the end, we'll be answering those questions as we can, as time allows. For this demonstration, I want to start with a quick introduction of Odoo, the applications that we'll be using, the logic of the system. So this will be for those of you who have not spent much time on Odoo before. And then we'll take a look quickly at the products that we'll be using in this demonstration. Second of all, as kind of a little bonus, I want to take a look at Odoo Studio quickly. It's one of our very powerful customization tools, quite new, and features a drag and drop type of customization tool that is going to allow you to build out this database to be industry specific, to work well for your company. Finally, B2C, so we'll take a look at those, how we handle customers, regular customers, people, e-commerce, things like that. Finally, B2B, we'll actually take a look at two sides of this. B2B with manufacturing, so just handling that, how we take those products, use materials, create a finished product, send that out. And also services, how we can actually invoice on hours, track those projects, and then invoice on all of this. And finish off with accounting, how it all feeds in. All right. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. Let's see. Hope everyone can see my screen here. At times I'll probably zoom in a little bit, but this should show up well on your screen right now. It's a database that I've made, of course, particular for this webinar, and this is the same thing that one of your business advisors will do. And I'm looking at some of the apps that Odoo has, but not all of them. At any point, you'll probably be using a core group of apps in Odoo because of the fact that they all work together. It's just a valuable feature of the system. It's what we sell here, what we really push forward is the integration of these apps. So for this demonstration, I've chosen the appropriate applications of CRM and sales to handle the front end and the wholesale. In addition to that, we've got the middle ground, inventory, manufacturing, purchase, kind of handle all of the back end, procurement, things like that. We also have website to take those orders from online. And then we have project accounting to kind of wrap up those invoices, those services in the back end. You'll see that Odoo often has other applications here that I can use almost as auxiliary apps. They might not be core to the business, but they're going to help you keep other things organized. For example, my timesheets. Certainly, I log my timesheets on my project. However, I can view them and I can report on them easily from the timesheets application. In addition to that, employees, easy place to scroll through my employees. contacts, search through everything right there. So these are the starting applications. And to be clear again, with the business flows that we'll be looking at, we will be starting out in the CRM, sales, and website side of things. So to quickly look, the CRM app, the very common Kanban view that you'll see throughout Odoo. Of course, integrated with the sales app. The sales app is going to be a sales management tool for the entire system. So sale orders that are coming offline from a salesperson, even an outside sales rep, are all going to feed into here. The website will feature not only my website metrics, information about my analytics and the sales I've made, but also the website itself that I can jump to through here. I can make edits to that website. It is a drag and drop feature. And this is where my customers can come in, they can log in, and they can submit orders. Finally, to look at the middle ground, we've got inventory, arguably the center of the system, right? Everything revolves around what moves in and out of my inventory for a physical product company anyway. We've got our dashboard with our different routes coming in and out. We've also got, of course, our products, our list of products. We can view those in the list view, and other reporting information. Manufacturing. We'll briefly take a look at the different work centers I have set up, the work orders that will be involved. Purchases. Very simple, really just the opposite end of sales. I can create a request for quotation here, a purchase order, send that out to a vendor, and then I can actually tie this to a shipment. Now, you're probably thinking that I'm jumping through this very quickly. I'm just giving a general overview, and I'll tie into each of these specifically as we go through the business flow. Also keep in mind that we do have other webinars that look at these specific apps, an inventory app, how to handle purchases, and that'll go in depth. My main purpose here is going to be show you before the business flows kind of the Odoo logic, how the system runs, what we can expect from each screen, and how we can master these tools to really be efficient in Odoo and in our company. So as an example, I'll use the sales screen here. We've just got a regular list view, which you'll see throughout Odoo, and we've also got a couple features that you'll see throughout the system as well. In particular, above, we've got our search feature, which is going to be one of your best friends, either in sales, in manufacturing, and inventory. Wherever you are, you're likely to have a search tool here with filters. At any point, I can filter through, in this case, my orders, which ones came from the website. If I have activities set, I can filter through those. And I can also dig into just about any information I have featured about the sale order, even about the customer or the product itself. And I can create custom searches, perhaps that you use very often, and then save those as a favorite search here. Make it usable by everybody. Make it something that appears as default on this screen. Really a powerful tool that also transfers into grouping by. I can group by salesperson. I can group by customer. And it's going to be something that appears everywhere. Again, save those searches. You'll see as you change screens, these filters, these group by options will change to what's appropriate. And finally, using a tool like Studio, which we'll get to in a moment, we can actually change the items that we see here and maybe exchange them for ones that we use more often. On the left side of the screen, Odoo is typically going to suggest next activities, next actions that you can complete on this screen. In this case, very simple. We can either create a new quotation or we can import. This is something likely you'll use only at the beginning during implementation, but perhaps you are in the process of moving from one system to the next, and in the meantime, you've created import templates and you can import your CSVs. On the right side of the screen, we've got the views. How can we access this information? What's it going to look like? Some of these views will of course, be preferable for certain types of information or filters that we're looking at. In this case, the Kanban view is very nice for just differentiating between customers here. We also see some information on this screen that we might not see from the list view, and we can also edit this and add information here using Studio. Finally, the calendar view, which is integrated with your Google Calendar, and has access to sale orders, customers, meetings. As a manager, you can actually filter through this and view all the meetings that, say, your salespeople have for this week. And it's a standard view that you'll see throughout Odoo, in manufacturing, in purchase orders, and elsewhere. The next two are going to be mostly for reporting purposes. I can actually use here our pivot table is what this is called, and I can take certain information, basically any information that we have featured about this, and view it in relation to other data. So let's take, for example, our salesperson and see who is sold to which customer here. I can filter through this, say maybe company instead. What company am I selling from if I'm doing multi-company? And I also want to say view the untaxed amount, taxes separately. I can do this all right here. Now once I have this information up, let's go back to customer. I can then switch over to the next view, which is going to allow me to see this in a graphical view, and I can actually switch between different types of graphs depending on the type of information I'm looking at. So really real-time information that I can access from multiple views on any screen in Odoo. Now to summarize that again, we're looking here at the different views, the different logic that Odoo has, and you'll see this throughout different screens. So now go into inventory, for example, just as an example, let's take a look at our transfers. And I've got all the same tools with different filters, different tools that I can access. Now, briefly before we move on to Studio, I'd like to take a quick look at the products that we'll be reviewing today. This will allow us to understand it because in Odoo, a lot of the way we set up this automation in the system is by configuration. If we configure something properly, it's going to work perfectly, but we do have to understand the configuration to get there. So some of the products that I have here, in case you haven't noticed, we are a furniture company based out of Oakland. I make a few basic products. One of them here is my bamboo desk chair. This desk chair I actually have two variants of. This is a tool that Odoo has to differentiate a product that just has different versions perhaps. The typical example is a t-shirt, size large, size small, and different colors. We can have an attribute, which would be the size or the color of the t-shirt, and in this case, the attribute value, child or adult, being the size of this desk chair that it comes in. Each is technically handled as its own product. If I click over to my variants, I can see how much I have in stock of each one, how much the cost is, and so on. But for organization purposes, we keep this nicely tucked in under the bamboo desk chair main product. Also worth noting on the product page is the configuration up here that you'll see again in the customer page, elsewhere throughout Odoo, is configuration below where we can set this kind of information, our sales information, who our vendor is for this product, all under the desk chair. Very importantly, inventory, setting up our routes and how we procure this product. Do we buy it? Do we manufacture it? And do we make it to order? And finally, up top, everywhere that this is referenced in Odoo. How many I have on hand, I can click it there and I can view reports on that. How much is forecasted, say based on reserved quantities of a product, products that I'll be receiving from vendors, and finally, how many sales I've made, and even inventory automation here, viewing minimum and maximum levels of this product. Odoo will actually go through my system. They'll take a look at what the minimum quantities I have set for each product. If any of those current on-hand quantities are below a minimum, then it's actually going to trigger a draft purchase order. Now, let's actually review one of the manufactured products. So the bamboo desk chair, again, I order it from a vendor. I have two variants of it, and I sell it to my customers. The Marina bench is one of our manufactured products, and for that matter, has a bill of materials. So everywhere else it looks pretty similar to the other product, except here, you'll know under inventory, I have here that is a manufactured product and it is make to order. That means that I don't have it in stock yet. I only manufacture it once someone has requested it. Let's take a quick look at my bill of materials. Everything on the bill of materials is going to have its own product page, really. So I can actually jump in, I can click over to the bamboo 2x4, I can click over to the bolts page, no problem. They're each going to have their sales information, their purchase information, even down to the same vendor type of information that we saw on these other products, because that's, again, how we configure it and how we handle them in Odoo. Do I manufacture my bolts? Is that a subassembly, or do I order that from a vendor? All that's set up there as well. So here we are. Some of these products I might have in stock, others I might have to order from a vendor. So let's now return to the main page here. And just note that the product's name can be a little misleading in Odoo, because bamboo bolts and the summerwood tint down here are not products that I sell to my customers, but they are products that I use to manufacture others, maybe raw materials, if you will. But Odoo does give me some filters that I can quickly access here if I need to. Can be purchased, can be sold. Perfect. All right. Now, with that being said, we are going to transfer over to part 2, Odoo Studio. This will be brief. I do want to show you, though, how we can use it to configure any page in Odoo. That is, my inventory pages, my products, my customers, anything like that that you see that you need to change can be done with Studio. So Studio is downloaded to your system. It's not its own app. It actually is just a tool that you'll see up here. And when I click into that tool, I'll be able to access the drag and drop features. So here we are at our customer page. Let's jump into one of these. Nike. Well, Nike's a customer page. As you can see, it's organized similar to my product page. That's why we have that kind of setup that you'll recognize from page to page. It'll be easy to understand and learn the different systems. Up top, wherever this is referenced, and below here, all of the configuration information. But let's say that I actually have a very specific industry. I keep certain information on hand about my customers that I don't see as a field already in Odoo, but it is essential to me. I do need to feature this all the time. So what can I do? Well, I can actually drag and drop a field. Let's jump right into Odoo Studio here. And immediately what we see are a few options. Again, kind of similar to the regular Odoo logic. On the left side, perhaps our suggested next actions. We can add fields, drag and drop them in. If you've used our website builder, it's a lot like this. We've got the new fields up top. So something else, some new information that I want to include. I can do a checkbox. I can add a file so that I can upload something there. I can even use a many-to-one, which basically means I can connect another model in Odoo, say my products, and I can assign a product. I can filter through all the products I already have in the system and assign one here. In this case, let's try a selection field. We'll say we're going to do a selection on type of wood that this customer prefers. We can do bamboo, we'll do oak, and let's just do spruce. So I've now created the 3 values. This will now appear here. I can give it a name quickly. We'll say preference. We can make this a required field if we want to make sure it's included on all of our customers, and other information. Perhaps it's just an invisible field. Perhaps we just search by it and we can have it visible on the search, but we don't want it to be editable by anybody else here on the customer view. Anyway, once we close, there it is. It's now added to all of my customer pages, and I can easily come in and choose one of the options, say oak. And that's it. That's all there is to it. Now I can go over to my list view, for example. Maybe I'll add a new column here. It's something that I do want to access all the time. It is now an existing field since I've just created it. So let's scroll through all of my existing fields. Let's find our preference. Let's shoot that right here behind name because it's very important. Now it's just a field like anything else. We can filter through this. We can prioritize, actually use it here. It should appear under our preferences. There it is. And I can actually set that right there. Perfect. So as you can see, very simple and quick to do. Add it to the list view, but it also works on other views. So here we are in our Kanban view. Perhaps I also want to feature this on our little list here. I can add an existing field. And let's see if we can drag and drop preferences right into there. Keep it right there. All right. Of course, you can play around with the location, and then we can filter it here. So beyond just using fields, because this is something that you might use for your products, your customers, you can also change views, create automated actions, change those filters that we spoke about. We won't have time to do all of this right now. We actually have specific webinars on Studio that I invite you to check out. But this is going to be a powerful feature here again that we can check out. Say perhaps I prefer the list view. I can click over to the list view. I can make it my default. All right, so now that we've reviewed the logic of Odoo, how we can edit it and change it, and how the apps work, let's actually, let's jump over to the real flows here. B2c Business Flow with e-commerce. What does that mean? That means, well, I have a company that has a website. I sell products directly to consumers right off of my website. They can visit that page, and then what we're going to look at here is how do we track everything from the time they put in their information and create a cart to the back end. Where does that order come in? How do I know that it comes in? How does it move around my inventory? And finally then, how do I send it out and track this the entire time? So let's review that right here. As we spoke about, we'd probably start in CRM, sales, website. It's going to be the front end of our business. So let's jump over to the website. As we saw briefly here, this is beyond just the place where I can edit and change my website. I can track metrics on it. I can see how many orders have come in. If I've got the right reporting data, I can see that right from this page. And even access, say, information about abandoned carts. I can have automatic emails that go out to abandoned carts or unpaid orders, follow-ups, and this can be set up to occur automatically in Odoo. So this is where I might manage that information. Again, remember that all of my sales that come off my website from anywhere in Odoo will feed into the sales management tool. So this is a nice place to kind of dig into the details, but at the end of the day, all of that will feed into one place in the back end. So here's my website. I created this morning, and it's very easy to use. Our drag and drop feature, you may have been able to play around with it, but I'm able to drag in these different types of fields, of blocks that are actually already integrated with the back-end system. So for example here, I've actually created a form that I can enter information into and send to the back end. That'll create a lead. Perhaps it creates a customer, a project task. I can set all of that up. Now in this case, we'll note two tabs that I have up here that I'm going to be using right now. The first one will be shop, and later on we can look at wholesale. Wholesale actually just being, in this case, a contact list that I can then send to my CRM. That'll input information in the CRM. I'll get notifications about that, and I can track those leads. For my shoppers, someone hears about Oakland Furniture Company, they're excited, they want to come online, they can go right to my website here. And again, keep in mind, this is something that I've put together in a few minutes, our website builder here. At any point while you're building that, we can come in here, we can look at the mobile view, you can review and double check that everything's going to work properly here. Keep it in mind, of course, that nowadays a lot of these products are purchased online, so you want to make sure that that is set up, that the way the templates are set up works nicely on the mobile view. And other information up here. I can edit the menu that appears, I can actually customize the theme and the colors, and if you've got a developer on hand, we can even access the code right here. So next, let's jump into one of our products, the bamboo desk chair. I saw this advertised somewhere else online. I'm really excited about it, and I decided to purchase it, but I think I'll be needing the adult chair. As you can see here, Odoo automatically calculates the price. We're going to buy 2 of these, and I can include inventory information online if I'd like to. In this case, I'm choosing to view exact inventory information. I have 19 right now at this moment. And I can also set that to just give a minimum threshold, perhaps under 10 units. I warn the customer, actually encouraging them to buy. We have 10 left, buy now. This is a high demand product, right? So here we are, we'll add 2 of these. Proceed to our checkout. In our checkout, information that you'll normally expect, we can just process this, include my information. Let's include a different name so that we can find this more easily elsewhere. Let's say Natasha's buying from us. Phone number, street and address, 1234 Bayshore. Input this in as I normally would. Daly City. And the zip is pretty simple. And of course, the United States is where we are right now. Perfect. Next step. We do need to include a phone number, important, so you can call them up. All right, so my billing address is the same as my shipping address. I can change that if I need to. If I am a vendor, if I'm actually using this website as a wholesale vendor site, then you might have multiple addresses that they input, they can sign into. As you can see, I now have an account that I can view my product information on, my orders, and actually choose specific addresses. Finally, payment. I can choose wire transfer, but more likely you've got credit cards, right? And so since I haven't set this up for payment yet, it doesn't appear there, but we have many payment acquirers who set them up: Stripe, PayPal, Authorize.net, to name a few. And we'll go ahead and pay right now for these 2 chairs. As soon as I do that, I do get a confirmation on this end, a PDF that is included, and I see this information. Remember that I can always access this from my account, Natasha's account. I can take a look at the orders I've made in the customer portal. However, in the back end, now where do we see this? Let's jump out back and remember that we can review our orders in website, but it's important to also note that here it is. Natasha has appeared in my back end immediately, real time, and I can actually see what product came in, the information that they included about their address. I can actually have different addresses here too, right? If I had a different delivery address, that's listed here. Perfect. I can actually see, even on the right side, that in this case, say wire transfer payments, I can set up Odoo to send an automatic email to that customer. It goes out immediately upon confirmation, and they can actually pay this online. They can view it. It'll include a PDF. Again, something I can set up. I can turn this on if I like to. All right, well, we can mark that this is paid right now to trigger the delivery orders and the invoices. The invoices will usually be created automatically off your website. Review those at any point right here in Odoo. Based on the credit card information, perhaps you now have a token. All right, so we've now created a delivery order. So if you've used Odoo before, you know that this information is accessible from a few different areas. Obviously, for convenience sake, we have it linked right to the sale order. At any point, I can look up the sale order. I can even look up the customer and find this data very easily. And how do we handle these? Well, we simply say, okay, we're going to send 1 or 2 of these out. In this case, we'll say we only have 1 available right now, so we're going to go ahead and validate this delivery order, send 1 out of inventory. Odoo is immediately going to recognize that and say, hey, do you want to create a back order? We'll say yes. Absolutely, we can send that out, and immediately Odoo is going to create an additional document to fulfill that second order. Now, for that second delivery order, I want to show you how we might typically access this information from the inventory app. Of course, it's useful to have it linked here, and just to show you an example, if I go to the customer, Natasha, I can click over to the sales, view the sale order, and I've got the delivery order linked right there. If I were to do this on a regular basis in inventory, I'm likely to be viewing my inventory dashboard. This is where, like I said, these different routes come in, receipts, any purchase orders that trigger receipts will be featured here. Any sale orders that have delivery orders will be featured here as well. So you're most likely not going to be creating any new documents here. You'll just see them come in as they're created elsewhere in the system. So here it is. I have 1 back order left to complete. We're going to send this over to our customer. Perfect. Also, it looks like when I did change this online, I actually changed my name because I was signed in. So as you can imagine, this is not something that would happen to you guys. But you know what? I actually invite you to check out our mobile app if you want to, oaklandfurniturecompany.odoo.com. If you go there right now, you'll see the website is actually live. You can literally input an order, and we can see that feed in. So maybe we'll check in towards the end of this demo to see if anyone sent that in. You'll be able to see the mobile friendliness, how quickly we were able to put this together, and how immediately it appears in the back end here. On the right side, important to note that everything is being documented in Odoo. I've got what we call the chatter area. Every time a change occurs automatically in the system, Odoo will document that. I can also schedule activities here that I can then view up top here in the future. Say when I log in the morning, I want to review this. I can see all the activities I have to set up. I can also log notes. I can tag somebody in the system, myself in this case, and say, hey. Or I can tag them and say, we have an issue with this delivery, please check this out. They'll actually receive a notification directly to their computer, to their Odoo, or to their email. Very simple to set up, and they'll receive a link directly to this page. So full, accountability, you might say, throughout the system, and the ability to tag people and jump through. Finally, sending messages means an email. You'll have your email linked up to this. You can send that out to the customer. You might send that to the manager, the inventory manager, just for their review, for them to be able to check this and move forward. Now, this completes our interaction for the B2C, the B2B. So we saw it go from the website into sales and then out through inventory. Now let's quickly take a look at the next step here. The B2B, we're going to take a good amount of time on these two flows, B2B for manufacturing and B2B for services, because it's going to be more intricate. We'll have the same type of flow, but we'll also involve manufacturing, and we're going to bring in purchase orders too. So let's jump right back to Odoo. Now B2B, typically we'll be handling this from our CRM. The CRM tool, you may be familiar with other CRMs. We've organized this in a very simple way and separated the complexity into the sales app, so you can review that separately. You can filter through it there. What we look at on the CRM on a day-to-day is my pipeline. This is a pipeline that's been assigned to me as a salesperson. This might involve a couple territories, a couple sales channels, but since they're assigned to me, I see them all filter here. And each salesperson can see their own pipeline with the particular customers or opportunities that were assigned to them or automatically assigned to them in a round-robin fashion, for example. I can then, as a manager, report on these channels: USA Sales, website. Perhaps I have another territory for Canada. Perhaps I have outside sales reps, and those are handled in a separate area here. And I can always jump in and review that pipeline. So let's refer to my main pipeline again and see exactly what we're looking at here. Like I said, probably a pretty common view for you here, the Kanban, and you'll see it throughout Odoo as well, in Project and elsewhere. But I've got on the right, a little tiny over here, is the salesperson, myself, assigned to this project. Like I said, you can assign manually. Perhaps your manager does that, or you have a round-robin fashion. As those leads come off the website, automatically from a Contact Us form page, they can be assigned. Got a little notification about our activities that we can send out. We can confirm those right here or schedule a new one. And that's reflected up top here by this bar. And as I move this along, we'll see not only the activities automatically update, but also my revenue. Finally, I can set priorities for each project, and as you can see, those priorities will shoot to the top of the list here. So let's jump into one here. I have a next activity set. I'm going to create a quote. So let's actually do that right now. Go ahead and mark that as done because I'm going to do it. And we can click here. Again, this quotation is linked to my opportunity and to the customer, which means it's also linked, of course, to the sales app. So Stansford is looking for a new library. Let's write them up something. Perhaps we had a phone call about it. Again, perhaps they just included some information on the Contact Us form page online. And what are they going to be needing? They'll be ordering a bench, but they would also like an installation service. Again, not a physical product. This is what I will track in my project management app, and I'll track it by hours, and I'll be able to invoice those. So that'll be the second half of our B2B flow here. Estimated to be about 3 hours, but we won't invoice on that until we've actually completed the project and then determined how many hours it ended up taking in total. So we'll save here. As you may know, we can send any of this information by email. Odoo is integrated with many email templates that you can edit yourself, filter through here, make changes perhaps add terms and conditions. But here they'll actually have a link to your website that you can edit, the quote page. You can have information on that quote page about the products that were added to the sale order lines specifically. You can have suggested products included here as well. And of course, you'll have your PDF that's included automatically and a link to that page. So we can send that out. And as with any email sent in Odoo, when your customer responds, you'll receive a notification right here. If they actually accept and pay online right here, you'll receive an immediate notification as soon as they view that sale order, as soon as they pay that sale order. So that's terrific. And in that case, if they were to pay online, we'd probably have this process occur automatically, the confirm sale button. The confirm sale button triggers a lot of actions in Odoo, so it's a very important step here. Like I said, with automatic payment, it can be auto-validated. In this case, we manually confirm it. And what that does is create the procurements throughout the Odoo system for the remaining products on this sale order. So I do have a physical product, the Marina Bench. So I've got a delivery order that I need to fulfill. Let's click over to this quickly and note up top that it's actually in a different state. It's waiting another operation. That's because I have to manufacture this product. If you remember, I have it set made to order, so I don't actually have any in stock. I'll have to produce it before I can send it out. I'll use my breadcrumb trail to get back here. Note also that I have the task. So that's the task that I'll track the services in, and I can actually view the project details right from here. So let's now jump out of sales. And since we know that a manufacturing order is needed, based on our configuration, we can actually assume that the manufacturing order has been created automatically as well. So if I'm in the manufacturing floor, perhaps I have this screen open in the back end for myself, and I can literally see this order feed in. So here it is, the Marina Bench. I've got information that I feature here in my list view, and let's jump into it. Automatically, Odoo has this availability tool that we can update. Before we even start the manufacturing order, I can check my availability and see what I have in stock. Great, I've got my bamboo, I've got my bolts. I've actually now reserved that product for the consumption in this manufacturing order, but I am missing my summerwood tint. Now, this could be for a variety of reasons. Perhaps it's reserved elsewhere in the system, perhaps I actually don't have it in stock, but in this case, I know what's going on. The summerwood tint, if I check out this product quickly and know how I can just jump through like this, is a make-to-order product that I buy from my vendor, which means instead of creating a manufacturing order, it's actually going to create a purchase order. So I can also rightfully assume that if I jump into purchases, I now have an order for my summerwood tint with the price, all the information included here. I can go ahead and confirm that order. And now let's receive the product. Of course, I'm skipping a few steps here. As with a sale order, I can send that purchase order to my vendor. I can agree on a price with them, change the price, finally wait for the shipment on the scheduled date. And here it is. It's been brought into inventory. Perfect. All right. Now that I've brought it in, it's literally in my inventory. That's what the validate button does. So I should be able to return to manufacturing. I can also do a little trick here. Do a quick search, go to my manufacturing orders. And now my material availability is on. We are good to go. We can go ahead and plan this manufacturing order. Now, why would this be planned? Well, we'll see immediately. As soon as I plan it, I'm not actually just taking this product and turning it into another finished product. I actually have a set of operations that I need to complete before I finish this manufacturing order. I do invite you to check out our manufacturing application. We have several webinars about it as well that go really in depth into what we can do with that and how we can set this up differently. In this case, as you can see, I've got a medium depth manufacturing process set up. I have a manufacturing order. That manufacturing order triggers work orders that I then have to complete to then mark my manufacturing order finished. In some cases, perhaps your manufacturing process is much simpler. You might just trigger a manufacturing order that takes everything on the bill of materials right down here and turns it into the finished product, the Marina Bench. So there's a variety of setups here. And in this case, I've chosen to do the work orders because I like the way it looks. We can actually track time. We can track cost. It is definitely more in depth. And I can set up which orders I complete at what time. In this case, this first order, assembly station construction work order has to be completed before I can start the die process work order. Note also my views on the right side. I can jump into a Kanban, view daily, how long this might take me. I can see drop downs of different orders I'm doing at this time. I can actually move this around, assign to different people, and then jump back. So let's click into those work orders. Work order 1, construction. As I can see from the status, it's ready to go. Let's begin this. So my work order screen here pops up. I've configured this from the bill of materials. I just set up my routing. And I can include instructions. In this case, I've got a real nice dark chocolate recipe. I can see current production, how much I'm actually producing, and very importantly, time tracking. Automatic time tracking as soon as I click start right here. I can see this information start to run. I can have multiple people sign in here, just start working on this, all of that automatically documented, and all of this information will be captured per work center so that I can review it later and see how productive I am, how much work we're doing, are we doing things ahead of time, can we actually fit more orders in the day. It's all going to be good productivity report information that we can access later from the work center. All right, so I can pause this perhaps quickly. I dropped something or I need to go to the bathroom. We can also actually do a block. A block is something that we can track, again, on time, set up an adjustments, equipment failure, material availability, all things that might cause us to stop production for a little while. And we can then track time and see how long it takes or how much time that pulls out of our day and our productivity. All right, so we can mark this as done. Now, I can actually just go right over to my next work order if I like and complete this here. But again, we'll want to show you how this looks like, say, from a tablet featured in your manufacturing floor. Perhaps instead of one computer where I can access all this information and jump between it, I've got different work center tablets. In this case, my finishing station now sees that I have a new order to launch, and so I can jump right into there, view the work orders, view this from a list view, whatever I like. All right, so let's jump in, and now let's start working. Okay, same process. We're time tracking, we're following instructions, marking this finished, adding information here as needed for with Studio, right, things like that. And if I return to my manufacturing order, I'll now see that this is finished. Perfect. So when I mark it as done, I'm recognizing that those work orders are finished. If I had to scrap any product, I would do that during the process, and then I could see that here during our inventory moves report that I can filter through. And I also create a cost analysis. And my cost analysis shows me here, great, I've got all the materials that I used at the price that I acquired them, and that is first in, first out if you have it set that way. Finally, cost of operations. Actually, how long does it take to complete this operation, how long it took me for this specific time, and what is the cost of running that operation. That includes labor, that includes running costs for machinery, for example. Calculate it all into a unit cost. So that's terrific. So the Marina Bench, I'm doing $133 per product right now. Great information to have. Now, remember that I have a delivery order going out to this client. Now that it's been completed, here it is. Going to Stanford. I have the quality check that I should complete. I've set up a quality check in this case for my product, and I can set that up for multiple products. I can set that up during the manufacturing order. We'll go ahead and pass that and not block it. And now we can validate it. Perfect. We'll go ahead and send that out, and we are now finished. We can review those quality checks at any point. We actually have a quality control app where you review all of that together. So there it is, the product movement from sale all the way through to manufacturing and out through inventory. But let's not forget, the last part of this is going to be our services. So along with actually creating this product and selling it to them, we're also offering installation services that we're going to track by hour, and we're going to bill on those hours. So in my project app is where I track these kinds of services. And here, for simplicity's sake, I have just one project, and I've got two client projects within it. right? So I can set the name for the type of client project I'm doing. It might be a task or something like that. But I can jump in, and here is the familiar Kanban view. I've got different stages that I've automatically set up or I've made custom for this particular project. And here is the new order that came in from Stanford, the installation service. Note that I already have links automatically here to the customer if I ever need to jump to that customer page, access some other information, perhaps contact information. I also have a link directly to the sales order, which will be very useful later when I am just going to create that invoice. So let's go ahead and assign this to me, and let's start to log hours. I'll push us into the on-site. Here we are. And now, let's say I'm logging my hours on-site construction. No help. That's why it took so long. It took an extra 5 hours. And as soon as I input that, you'll see that my progress shows that I'm far beyond what I was supposed to do because I had those initially planned hours of 3 hours on the site, or excuse me, on the sale order. So that's useful information to have. You can probably imagine the use cases where you might do that, perhaps other types of billable hours. But in this case, that's all right because we have this set to invoice based on the consumed quantities. So once we've done that, we've actually now finished. Let's go over to our sale order. Once we're on our sale order, we'll be able to invoice not only for these services, but also for the product itself. Also note, this is not to be forgotten, an automatic email that we've sent out to the client now that we're in the finished stage. So here we are. Back at the original sale order, we've got the delivery, the task being tracked, and I can see down here that one product was delivered and created. And finally, the installation service, although they ordered 3, we've now delivered 5 hours of service. Our total appears there, and we can create this invoice. Here it is, forever tied to this sale order. And as soon as I validate that, I can send by email. I can, again, have them pay online if I like. Print this out as a PDF. You'll see all those PDFs available right here immediately. And then I can register the payment. And then I can view all of this in accounting. I can register $520, the total here, perhaps just the payment of $300, a half payment. I can set my payment terms right on the sale order. So there it is. We've now completed from CRM all the way to invoice. Now, we have looked at mostly everything, but of course the last step here will be quickly review accounting just to show how all this information is feeding in automatically. The accounting app, which we, I believe, have not opened yet, is a full accounting platform in Odoo. It is supposed to replace any system you're using right now, and the reason is that you don't have to do any more data entry. The invoices you create right from the sale order, even if it's a credit card created automatically, fed right into here. My purchase orders have vendor bills, all of this fed in right here to an easy to use dashboard that's even synced online with your bank. Let's take a quick look at the reports that we actually have available. These are going to be what we call drill-in reports that I can view. I've got PDFs that I can automatically download, and I've also got separations by audit, by partner, even by management, and we can turn on other types of reports like business intelligence, profit reports, things like that. For the sake of example, let's explore the general ledger. This is a report that I can access for different information this quarter. Perhaps we want to do a comparison of sorts, which types of journals. And then I can actually dig into this information here. Where are these orders coming from? Does anything look strange? I can actually jump right into it, to the bill itself. Who is in charge of this? How long ago was this created? Did anyone make any changes to it? It's marked as paid here. Perhaps we're not seeing payment in the bank. What's going on? I can really do some investigative work with Odoo by digging through this information, even down to reviewing the actual journal entry itself. All right, this is what came through on what day. Perfect. This is going to be standard for all the reports. And you don't only have access to the reports that you see here, you can add different types of accounting information by country with Odoo. You can also create custom reports, essentially pulling information from other parts of the system, comparing them to each other, perhaps doing a sum of those, all set up right here in the accounting app. Now, of course, in addition to that, we've got other information. I can always view my journal entries. I've got those along with filter tools that I can post through. I can check out the sales I've made, save a report here, and access all of this information in one place. So this just about, wraps up everything we have here. In review, we've looked at all of the business flows involved in a typical day-to-day for your company. That might be services, it might be a quick manufacturing process, and even pulling sales online. We also took a look at how to edit Odoo a little bit with Studio. We took a look at the logic of the system, which as soon as you play around with it becomes very obvious. All the screens look the same. You can really learn this whole system very quickly. And finally, how it all wraps up in accounting. So this has been one of our longer webinars, but Natasha, I think now we'll be looking at some of the questions, right?
Yeah, one of our questions we got was, is there a way to change the color scheme of a report in Studio?
Yes, Studio does have reporting editing capabilities. I believe you can change the color. We'll have to review that let's see what we can access right here quickly. Studio is a tool that we are constantly working on here. Let's see. And eventually hope to have an actual drag and drop tool for this system here. Now if we edit this, do we have color? I'm not sure. I'll have to get back to you on that. All right. Anything else right now?
Right now I'm not seeing any more questions coming in.
Let me do one thing quickly here. Let's just double check, see if we got any more website orders. Looks like we did. We've got a website order that was sent in from somebody online. We've got information actually about the customer right here that we can access. They actually created a customer page and the order came in. So look at that. While we were on the webinar, somebody was able to go in, create that order. It's featured right in the back end here. We can go ahead and confirm that sale, and like anything else, deliver, follow through, create an invoice. So that's terrific. Now, I guess if we don't have any other questions, Natasha, we can wrap up here.
Yeah.
I do want to remind everybody that I am a business advisor here at Odoo, and I'm happy to set up something like this for your company. So as you can imagine, my priority is to understand what kind of issues you're having right now with your company. I want to understand what you're currently using and then see how we can improve that and put it into a system like Odoo that's not only going to make your process more efficient, but probably save you a lot of time and improve on some of those processes themselves. So myself, you can reach me here, ses@odoo.com, and we've got a whole team behind us to help you out.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sebastian, for this presentation. Don't forget to click like if you found this video helpful, as well as subscribe to the channel for access to lots of videos and webinars to help you make the most of your business software, business management software. As always, if you have any further questions or you'd like to suggest a topic for another webinar, feel free to send them to webinars@odoo.com, and we'll make sure to answer any questions we didn't get to today. Don't forget to subscribe below for more videos like this.
Terrific. Thank you, Natasha.
Yeah.
Have a nice day, everybody.